Good afternoon and welcome to the newsletter for Friday the 2nd of October. We're already into October and goodness me, hasn't the weather turned. Thank you for all of your patience in the queues over the last few wet days. Much appreciated. If it's of any consolation whatsoever, both myself and Mrs. Greenaway and the various teachers have had wet socks too for most of the day. So thank you for your patience too. I can't imagine it's going to be all that different over the next few months. So it's umbrellas o'clock, isn't it? But thank you for that. I've got a few items for today. I'm going to talk about a partnership that the school has entered into. I'm going to be talking about reading and education and remote education. I'm going to be talking about student elections. But most importantly, I want to celebrate a real point of success. Hillfort has its first word millionaire. Noah, in Year 6, is the first child to have read 1 million words using the Accelerated Reader book scheme. Now, of course, AR, as it's often known, the book banding there, it's really helpful. It allows us to know that children are reading independently books that they're capable of reading and should enjoy reading. And so well done to Noah, who's read over 1 million words. That's an incredible feat, and we're absolutely super proud of him. Big thumbs up for Noah. So, sticking with the theme of reading, obviously last week I talked quite a lot about reading and the books that were going home. We've made an addition this week, and I'm just reaching for the Storytime magazines. Now, we've got quite a few of these in school now, the Storytime magazines, and I absolutely love them. And truth be told, I often go home with a copy for a few nights and read them to my boys. They're short stories. Some of them are classic stories. This one's, The Monster Under the Bed. And we've got, what have we got here? I think that's Jack and Jill and the Dragon. And as you can maybe see, really beautiful pictures if I lean myself out of the way. Traditional tales, and just enough for a bedtime read. So these are going home with our Key Stage 1 children even today, and I know that Mr. McGurr and myself and various other colleagues will be reading these for bedtime stories to encourage that habit. So I hope you enjoy reading those as and when they come home. So, I was going to talk about remote education. Now, one of the things that makes education really different at the moment is the possibility of having to teach remotely. Clearly, none of us want to do that. Certainly not what we came into education for. It's about the human relationships. But should anything happen around COVID, then we might need to lock down parts of the school, the bubbles or the kingdoms, as we've called them. Now, this is all for planning. I've got absolutely no sense that we're going to do this. It's just that we're planning, forewarned is forearmed. And I just wanted to let parents know what the plans were if we do need to lock down a year group or a bubble. So, if you're an individual family and you're going for a COVID test, you can absolutely request, and we are delighted to provide work. Now, that might be a suggestion of websites such as Times Table Rockstar to go on. It might be hard copy material, worksheets, that kind of thing to come home. It might be digital resources that you might be able to access on a laptop. If you don't have a laptop at home, we can loan those out. We are happy to do that. All you do is sign the sensible usage policy, and we can provide those. Later next week, we are sending out a Survey Monkey questionnaire as to who's got internet, who's got broadband internet, who's got laptop access, just to give us a better idea. But we might well direct parents to Oak Academy, some of the lessons that are there. And our teachers, if we have to shut down a bubble, will be filming some lessons. Obviously, there's not an awful lot of point in doing that if folk can't access the lessons because they don't have the right tech. So we can loan the computers out very much on a loan basis, and we can certainly look at IT access and help folk out as best we can. So hopefully none of that ever happens. Hopefully everything I've just talked about is completely wasted breath, and all of the planning is completely wasted. And that's what we want. But I'm hoping it might reassure parents to know that if something does happen, then we've got a plan in place. Okay, so we had a visitor to the school this week, and that was Councillor Jane Pascoe. A slightly damp, a slightly wet Councillor Jane, who was outside with the traffic warden, patrolling with myself and with our caretaker, trying to encourage parents to park sensibly. That's obviously really important to us. We can do all the planning in the world, but if children get harmed through getting knocked down, that's awful too. I would please encourage parents, especially on a rainy day, to respect the local area. You know, you can understand where parents get annoyed if folk have parked across their drives, and it only takes 2 or 3 folk to be parked in an inconsiderate or illegal place, and we get a whole log jam, and that's really frustrating and ultimately just plain dangerous. So we're grateful to Councillor Pascoe's support. She assures me that a longer term scheme is being planned for, using council money, of which more will come in the next few weeks. But in the meantime, can we just look after ourselves? And you might want to look at the photograph that we've put on Facebook. The difference between a child stood in the kind of half light in black, and you can barely see them, versus the child in high vis, and you really can see them. So it might just be worth thinking about, you know, going out and buying coats. It's that time of year, isn't it, where the dark nights are just beginning to draw in. Just having a think about high vis, bands, that kind of thing, just to keep children safe. Maybe not the coolest thing in the world, but there you go. Yeah, and we went into a partnership this week. Some of you might have heard of something called Magic Breakfast. Now, Magic Breakfast started off in London. It's now a national charity. Absolutely brilliant, cool charity. We worked with them when I was ahead in London, and essentially they give us a cash grant and provide free breakfast in order to support, the Breakfast Club. So that's wonderful news. That will allow us to support children even more. Our Breakfast Club is cracking. It's one of the, if not the biggest in Cornwall, I'm told, but certainly we have so many children come through, and to be getting support from a national charity, from Magic Breakfast, that's wonderful news. The school making another step forward. And last item from me, children will be coming home today, having been spoken to in assembly. I'm doing my assembly at 2:30 today, and we are getting our student elections going this week. So I'm going to be talking to children about what it takes to represent the school in a school councillor role, living the school values, and from there we will look to do elections of the head boy and head girl team for the coming year. So you may wish to talk to your child about that and help them prepare their manifesto and what they might want to say, probably via Teams, probably via video, because we still want to encourage that public speaking. So that is my list done, and that's me on 9 minutes, and I'm sure 9 minutes of Dr. Cook is more than enough for anyone. I do hope that you have a lovely weekend. Hopefully the weather eases off a little bit. Looking out of my office here, it's still quite blowy now, but fingers crossed you have a lovely weekend, and no doubt I will see you on Monday, and I might even have brought some dry socks for that day. You look after yourselves, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye bye now.